Welcome to SearchLab. My name is Mark Bealin. I'm the founder and managing partner. I want to welcome you guys. We are doing our second Business Minute Clinic, of which I hope there are many more. Today's topic is about social media, and we have some really great speakers. Sue Koch, I wanted to introduce first, who's going to talk to you guys a little bit. Sue is a person that never stops. She started out a career and served in roles like, I want to make sure I get this right, senior technical project, and let me just read from the sheet so I get this right. So it's technical project director and senior VP of operations. In 2009, Sue started her own social media education consulting practice and has really taken the industry by storm. She's one of the most sought after speakers in this space. She's worked for companies like Accenture and Oracle and the American Marketing Association. So we're just thrilled to have her here and to benefit from her knowledge. So my message to you guys is welcome. Continue to check in with us on our social media for future events. Sue will be having an event that I hope she mentions in June at our office. And welcome, and without further ado, Sue, could you introduce yourself and talk about your specialty?
Yes. So good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. So I'm just going to do a little kickoff for today, give you a little overview about the state of the union of social media and some of the things that hopefully you will all be able to benefit from in being here today. So as we know, social media can be very overwhelming. If you're here today, you're probably out there in some capacity. You're probably out there seeing some successes, but probably also experiencing a bit of frustration and overwhelm. Is that true? Yeah. And that is okay. Even the greatest experts, the most successful small and mid-sized businesses, and even Fortune 100 companies struggle with social media. So while a channel might look amazing, while a brand may really look like they've got their act together, on the inside, that may not necessarily be the case. They may not be getting the sales out of it that they want. They may not be generating the community that they necessarily want. So if you're feeling that as a small business owner, don't feel bad about that, because the big companies are as well. So some of the things that we're going to address today are some tips that hopefully you can walk away with that you can start implementing right now. Things that will help you reduce some of that overwhelm. Some steps that you can take to help really make your implementation more efficient and effective, and understand the things that might be causing you struggle so you can get those things out of the way and focus on those things that work. So a lot of the things that we all speak about a lot are busting the myths of social media, and some of those can be the most overwhelming pieces, especially as a small business owner. How many of you have a team of people supporting your social media? All right, good for you guys. So that's a very small percentage, and that's normally the case. So it can be very overwhelming when we look out there and we see all these experts telling us, you have to be on every channel. If you're not on every channel, don't even bother. Well, that kind of message doesn't sit well with a company that can't hire someone to manage every single social channel. And I don't think any of us are doing that. So you have to pick what works for you. And we want to bust a lot of those myths for you so that you don't feel like, well, I don't have the time to do Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and Snapchat and YouTube and Tumblr and all of the other things. How can any person running a small business do that unless they have billions of dollars in investment and lots of teams of people? So we want to bust a lot of those myths for you today. The other thing that you might be hearing a lot about are things like, in the news lately, your privacy is at stake. Facebook is dead. All the social channels want is to change the algorithms so that we have to pay them more money, right? We hear those things all the time, and it can be a bit disheartening about what we're doing, because a lot of us already feel like we're spending all this time, money, and effort putting all of this great stuff together, and then we put it out there and we're excited to share our greatness, and then we look over and the only person who has liked our post is Marie. That's not true, because if Marie likes your post, it's going to go all over the place. But if it's your grandma, that's not going to really synergize your content. So a lot of times we feel like we've put all this work into place, and then we're still sitting all by ourselves alone at a party talking to ourselves. So how do we make that work for us? And that's where we get into that balance of the things that we hear about the algorithm, the things that we hear about advertising, where we should focus on tactics and budget and all of those other things. The privacy stuff, yes, it's at stake, but we have control over it. So it's about educating ourselves, adjusting our settings, and checking in on those things so that we feel safe and protected and our family is safe and protected, but we can still get our business out there and grow like wildfire. The piece about Facebook is dead, not true. Sure, there was this whole hashtag delete Facebook movement after the Cambridge Analytica debacle, but the fact is, it's not just the elderly who are on Facebook now. Gen Xers are still there, millennials are still there, and they're buying there. So a lot of these myths serve to maybe push us away from something that you've dedicated a lot of time to. Don't run. Let's just fix those things that aren't getting us all the attention that we need and do better there. The other thing is the idea of algorithms killing all of our efforts. There's two sides to that coin as well. All of the social channels have the algorithms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And sure, we might see that a few months ago 500 people saw something and this month there's 30. That's frustrating. That's very frustrating. And they like to tell us that the algorithms change because we want it to be a better experience for you personally. So they're going to show us our friends and our family and the cute puppies and the pictures of burritos and margaritas. But as a business owner, that doesn't serve us very well, does it? So yes, it's time to pay to play. But you can do that on a budget. You can do that with a small dollar value and get a big bang for your buck. I think about the many clients and people I know that they spend thousands and thousands of dollars to have their face on that little bar that separates your groceries at the Mariano's. They pay thousands and thousands of dollars to have their business brand on a bus bench. And think about that. If you spend $5,000 a month on something like that, you're in a certain geographic location where a certain amount of people who may or may not be your target audience might look at it, they might sit there, they might remember your brand. But think about if you took just a small portion of that budget to make sure that your perfect target audience, people you knew were already interested in what you're doing, locally, nationally, internationally, could see your content. Doesn't that just make sense? So the fact that the algorithms are changing, yeah, it's frustrating, but you know what? It's a business marketing line item. So if we can spend a smaller amount of money than what we did traditionally to make a huge impact to people we know are already pre-qualified, that's pretty powerful, isn't it? So these are the things that unless you're really diving deep into those things, we don't quite understand. And we want to shed some more light on those things for you as well. And we've got a great team of people up here that can speak to all of these things. A lot of this stuff also gets into the world of, now I've got to do these beautiful photos and videos, and you see all these people who look like supermodels, and they've got a posse of video editors walking behind them all day long. I can't compete with that. Well, you know what? Go back and look at Gary Vaynerchuk's first wine library video, right? It sucked. And that's okay, and he didn't care. He kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and now look at him. So that's where, you know, Chris can help you identify some ways that you can do things on a budget. You can do things that are supporting your business, and you don't need to be a supermodel with a posse of videographers following you around. It's okay. We can do those things with the things we have at hand. Some of the other things that come into play, not just social media is changing, but Google. Now, if you're not mobile responsive and have all these other things in place, all of a sudden Google doesn't want to see you anymore. Right? So we feel overwhelming about how all of these algorithm changes on social and on Google are impacting our presence. And that's where Search Labs can help you identify ways that you can make that work for you. And then that conversation around what you're doing. The sales and marketing part can be very uncomfortable. And Marie is a pro. So Marie can help you with that language, that breaking down, that soft and nurturing communication in a way that you're building relationships, instead of slamming someone's face with something you want them to buy. So this team of people here is very eager and ready to help what ails you, because we want you to help you get past comfort zones, because social media can make an enormous impact. You can build huge communities, you can sincerely grow your business to exceptional levels. And so let's get started with the panel so we can help you do that. Thank you.
So we're going to have questions prepared, and then I invite all of you guys to ask your questions. Our Business MediClinic MC and returning champion, Jeff Topples, is here. If you have a question, please try and get his attention. And without further ado, Jeff, take it away.
Thank you. Again, as Mark said, thank you for everyone for coming out. On this panel, we do have a couple of other experts I want to draw some attention to, Marie Hale and Chris Salvi. If you guys want to take a moment and just kind of give everybody a quick insight of what you do, that would be great.
Sure. Hello, my name is Marie Hale. You can find me on Instagram at Hook Revenue. I am the CEO and co-founder of At Revenue, which is a sales and marketing firm. One of the things that sets us apart from all of our competition is that we look at marketing from a sales perspective. What is it going to take to make that sale close, and how does that then reverse engineer through your entire marketing strategy so that we're bringing people into the pipeline in an effective way? We know the ROI of our efforts, and our closing rate is at a 60 to 70% as people come through that funnel. Social media for our organization is a critical part of the holistic strategy that has to happen. If you're speaking publicly, your social media has to support that. If you're creating content, your social media has to support that. If you want your SEO to rise, your social media has to support that. And social media is a great authenticator. People go to social media to confirm that you are who you say you are and that you have the values that you say you have. So it's a great opportunity to create personal, authentic brands that are going to help you sell to what people truly need from you.
Hello, I'm Chris Salvi, and I'm a co-founder and producer at Salvi Media. So we do video production, and we're storytellers. That's what we do. We dive deep into what the business is about, the people within the business, their values, what they're trying to accomplish. And we take their objective and we turn it into a video. And social media is a big part of distributing that video content. And yeah, we love doing it.
Excellent. Okay, we'll go to a question that we kind of start off this whole thing with is, why isn't my business social media's following growing? Sue, why don't you go ahead and start off with that one?
Sure. It's very hard these days. For those of you who might have been out on social media before 2010, if you started communicating with people, following people, you got followed back pretty quickly and you could really grow. That has changed today. The social media world is highly saturated. And again, the algorithms that I mentioned previously may prevent you from even being seen. So there's a lot of things that we need to focus on to make sure that other people are seeing our social channels and that they're invited and engaged enough to follow us. Part of that is putting some advertising budget onto some extremely compelling value-add content. The other part of it that a lot of people forget about because we're so busy getting that content created and onto our social channels is actually being proactively communicative with other people and with other brands. So that's where the B2B and B2C side comes in. Think about how you can try on a daily basis, whatever channels are important to you, to go out and proactively communicate with other people. That is what's going to draw them in to follow you back, like you, and stay connected. It's not about finding that magical hashtag unicorn. It's not just about having something out there every day. It's got to be valuable, it's got to be compelling, and you have to go out there and communicate with people so that they know where you are, you build a relationship with them and draw them into your community. So those are a few things that you can do simply that maybe shift what you do on a daily basis to draw more attraction to your profiles.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, a lot of times we forget that it's not supposed to be a one-sided conversation. Who wants to sit in a room with somebody talking at you and you never get a chance to talk back? And if you say something, they don't respond. It's inauthentic. It's not how you run your business, hopefully. Mm-hmm. If you do, let's have a much different conversation. But part of that too, I think, is establishing your personal brand within your business. If people aren't seeing a human in your social media, if there's no authenticity there, that they really feel like they're getting to know who you are and why you're doing this, listen, we're entrepreneurs. We get up and we're 10, 15-hour days because we love what we do. Those of you that are in organizations, you have a choice where you work, where you're putting your time. And if you can't be thrilled about it and share that passion with the people that you're communicating with, why would they be passionate about you? And I think if that leans over into you gotta be passionate about that. If somebody reaches out to you and says, my God, Anne, that scarf is amazing. However did you pull that together? And your response is, I don't know, it was in a dream. This is not engaging or fun for them. This is just monotony. And with the amount of words that we are assaulted with on a daily basis, you have to say something of value.
Well, I'm not going to say anything better than you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a number of things I would say. I think that what's been said is really good. You have to remember how this works as a stream. So you have to figure out a way to be noticeable and to differentiate yourself. So a lot of this is just old school marketing. You know, what are you really trying to say that's unique? Video can be super helpful. I mean, I think you see everything else is just kind of like, oh, go to my blog, go to my white paper. Video can have a way of sort of breaking through that. But I think good writing and using sort of old school marketing tactics can go a long way. And then I think you guys hit it on the head. I mean, the more authentic you can make this, the better. And it should be, the onus should be on you to connect with people. All right, so it's not really about, don't you see I made this great content and no one's following me. Like you have to go find them. And you have to realize that sometimes you'll follow someone and they will follow you back, and that's okay. But the onus is really on you, if you want to grow your following, to first be a good friend to someone else. And then you'll find that they have, that's the beauty of social. So all these Facebook commercials you see, then you get friends with their friends. And you know, I know Marie. The way that I've gotten to know Sue is because I tried to be a good friend and a good partner to Marie. The same sort of interaction can work on social media anytime.
Yeah, I would speak to the authenticity of it. Like Twitter says you're 6 times more likely to get a retweet if it's a video opposed to an image. So when you see someone, like you're already past that point of like feeling like you've been with them. You hear them speak, you get their tone, you get their demeanor, you get the human element that not even a photo can give off, and definitely not text. So for growing your following, even something as simple, and we'll probably get into this, videotaping yourself, just talking to your iPhone is a way to make you more personal, to connect and grow your social.
That's a great step.
Yeah.
6 times more likely.
Yeah.
And let me throw some psychology down on that. So the way that communication breaks down is 7% of communication is words, 38% is tonality, and 55% of communication is body language. If you're using 7% of your ability to connect with your audience, you're leaving 93% of your opportunity to connect authentically on the table. The other piece of that is, and this is a little unnerving, so please allow me to make y'all a little uncomfortable for a minute. The more you see somebody's face on a screen, on a magazine, wherever it is, subconsciously, your mind believes that you know that person, and you will remember things about them. Who was that first guy that Jennifer Aniston was married to?
Brad
Do any of you know Jennifer? No, but your brain kept that information because it thinks you know her. I'm inside. I apologize for that to all of you, but it's a psychological component of why social media is so critical and why it can't just be stock photography of pretty millennials playing with computers or bubbles or balloons. Bubbles. Or puppies.
Okay. Well, I'd like to move on to another question. I feel like this is for the whole panel, so I'd like to hear some input from everybody. Is if if I invest in social media marketing, how am I going to track or gauge my return on investment?
Want to start?
Sure. Yeah, this is one of the most elusive parts, is the where is the ROI question. And a lot of it depends on a lot of different factors. There's so much beyond using the social channel that needs to be put in place to truly identify the patterns of habits of click-throughs and traffic to a purchase decision. There's also situations where you may not know, because maybe you are in a retail or someone picks up the phone and walks in. So it goes back to URL tracking, it goes back to internal process of identifying where things came from. But at the very least, a lot of people don't realize the amount of statistics that every social channel has to actually see how many people, not just liked, not just those vanity numbers, but how many people clicked to a website, clicked to a purchase page, clicked to a lead. And you want to pay attention to those statistics. See what people are doing. Use your Google Analytics in conjunction with your social media channels so that you know where people came from, where the journey they took on your website, and where you lost them or where you made that sale. And some people, if you don't have the budget to implement everything you might need in your website, you kind of have to look at it from the perspective of, do things correlate? Does your social media activity and click-throughs on social media correlate to an increase in leads and increase in business? And sometimes you have to go with that. But if you have the opportunity, make sure that you work with someone to get those referring URLs on the website, the UTM code, so that you know if someone signed up for my newsletter, they came from Twitter. If someone bought this product online, they came from that Instagram ad. There are ways to figure that out. If you don't have the budget to implement all of it, make sure you're running those numbers online, compare them to what's happening, and ask people, if anything else, how did you find me? What brought you here? What drew you to my business? So there are ways to get around that elusive component that I know Mark probably also has some good feedback on the website of things where you can track them more specifically.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of shuffle between not just social media, but internet marketing more broadly. We're sort of obsessed with this kind of this question of how can we prove to you conversions and a return on your investment, because if I can't, then I won't keep you as a client for very long. So there's a real urgency for us about how we can show that, and Nathan, who's here, is he's our general manager. We talk about this all the time, like how do we get our reporting better, how do we get it through to our people, and we gotta put this front and center. What I'll tell you is you don't have to be an agency, and a lot of the tools that we use to track conversions, they don't cost anything. It's just a matter of you have to know how to set up tracking in your analytics, you need to know how to do some sort of UTM tracking, but for the most part, analytics will come with the ability to track conversions easily. If you're running an AdWords campaign, it doesn't cost more to have conversion tracking. It comes with. And so you should be able to right away understand how many contact forms you had and what channel brought them to your website and had them convert. If you really want to get into it at a more detailed level, like we like to track phone calls, for example, like you're probably going to have to pay, but it's a small amount of money to get like really, really valuable information. And so to your point at the beginning, I was struck by the idea of the person in the grocery store where they have their picture on the separator. And you kind of go, how does that lady know if you, not just lady, the guy or gal, how do they ever know that they got one phone call from that? Like, what is the way they track that? The guy with the bench, how does he know that ever got anything? You would have to ask. That's the only way you could possibly know. With us, it's a blessing and a curse. It's like, you know. If it's good, you know, and those are good days. And if it's not good, you know, and those aren't so good days. And so, really and again, I would don't be afraid of this stuff. Like setting up basic conversion tracking in analytics is fairly easy, and there's certainly plenty of opportunity online to find it. When you get into a little bit more of a, you really want to start tracking like e-commerce purchases, stuff like that, you probably do want to consult an agency and make sure you have somebody who just, it would cost you a small amount of money just to make sure it was set up properly. But the beauty of internet marketing, and particularly social media, is certainly one of these things. Is you're sort of naked to the results. You can find out, and that's the beauty of that, is you can make better decisions because you know this kind of post led to this many conversions, and this kind led to this many conversions. What am I going to do more of? You know, the one that had more. It helps you really run your business more smoothly.
And I found, and we've been through a lot of different tools as things have progressed in the social media world. And currently we're using Sprout Social. For anybody that has experience with that, awesome. If you haven't, let me know. I'd be more than happy to walk you through it. They have tools in the social media aggregators that have reporting components to them, and they're incredibly valuable. Being able to take a quick snapshot as to how your what post went out on social media, where it spiked in your Google Analytics, and see it all in one dashboard gives you so much information about where the pieces are going, and takes some of the pressure off of you to play matchmaker on the back end, and puts it all in one place. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little busy running the business. So being able to pull those reports in a snap has been critical to the success of our social media.
From the perspective of a content creator, I tell my clients, like, we are trying to add value. So I don't dive into it like they do, but when I tell a client, like, take the baseline, you put our content out there, video, opposed to your text, and increase everything you want to increase, whether it's likes, retweets, conversions on landing pages, search engine optimization on web pages, what have you. That's how we want to look at our analytics. What's your baseline? Or analytics of our customers. What's your baseline? What's it at now after you put our stuff up there?
And guys, I wanted to just mention that thank you, Mark, so much for applying the snow globe filter.
I know.
I know. That was nice of me, right?
There's Benadryl in the coffee.
Exactly.
Anybody have any?
I have a question actually.
Yes, we'll come here.
On your website, when people go to your website, they're really not staying very long. You know, maybe they're staying about a minute if you're lucky. So tell me a little bit more about what is the function of the website these days, because it's definitely not to bring you clients. Help me understand.
As in how to increase it, or can you say that question again?
Well, people are coming everybody has a website that's a business, correct?
Right.
And most people in general are coming to a website for different reasons, but they're not really staying more than a minute or so.
Yeah.
Because our attention span is very short. So I think it's very difficult to convert, you know. Like people think, oh, I'm going to have a great new website and that's going to bring me traffic, but that's not necessarily the case at all. And I guess I'm asking the question, okay, so what is kind of the point of the website, other than obviously giving you credibility as a business that you are actually out there, you know?
To convert the customers.
Yeah, you're supposed to convert the customer, but if they're only there less than a minute, the question is it really working?
Video is the answer, actually.
Video
is the answer.
It's that nothing converts more than video does. Nothing keeps people on a web page longer than video does.
And that's what Google's watching. That's what Google's
all
watching.
these different kinds of, let's try a different call to action. I would give you some suggestions. One is don't make it hard for people to convert. So don't make it hard for them to find your phone number, and don't make them scroll to fill out a contact form or get through that conversion flow that you want them to. The easier you can make that, the better. And one of the ways, like, I really don't care if you're on a site 1 minute as long as you convert. Like all I want is, that's the ideal is, the ideal is I have such a great landing page that you land, you get the conversion I want, and you're gone in a minute. That sounds like a win for everybody. The important thing is that there is a science behind it. If you would like, to study more, just look up conversion rate optimizers, and there's a whole bunch of really good ones. But for us, that's what it is. Either we want more traffic, or we want a higher percentage of that traffic to convert.
Okay. Well, I think one of the things most of us would really like to know all of you is what are the tools that you use to make this all easier?
That's a great question. The Sprout Social is great. Yeah.
When you say easy,
It's a relative term.
yeah. So we do a lot of social media management for our clients, and that's honestly, I'm surprised how few agencies will do social media management. And I know why. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get that stuff together. So there's certain things that are going to help you at least speed it up. One, you have to have a social media aggregate. There's inexpensive versions of it like Buffer, there's more deluxe versions of it like Sprout Social, but you've got to be able to pre-schedule things so that you're not having to be of the moment all the time. Nobody wants a business owner that's staring at their phone more than they're staring at their clients. Again, it's an authenticity thing. Making sure that you're tracking which posts are evergreen, which means that you can post them over and over again and get multiple uses out of them, and what people are engaging with most, so that you can start to fill your calendar for months ahead of time with content that you know engages people, is going to start saving you hours. The other things that you need to learn how to do are put together a great social media image. Canva is an inexpensive, highly effective tool that has templates for you. Make sure that you are on brand. Know your brand guidelines so that you're not putting randomness into the world all the time. Make sure that you know how to take a picture. It may sound silly, but not everything you snap with your camera is appropriate for social media. So make sure that you, listen, I have a clip-on light ring that goes on my phone. $10, and let's find lines. So find something that's gonna work for you. I also just set up last night, if you were on my Instagram, you'll see my setup of my Diva ring light. It was intense. I thought I was gonna lose a cornea the first time I turned it on, but the results were there. Think about quality, think about your brand, think about what you can repost and repost and repost. And then the only thing you'll have to do is be of the moment with things that are popular in the media or coming through your thought leaders that you want to share, or ways to highlight your clients. Being other focused in your social media is a phenomenal way to not only gain traction for your brand, but to lift others around you. In our firm, lifting as you climb is the base of everything that we do. And that other focus is going to allow you to reach audiences that are much bigger and give you a chance to be of service to the people that love and support you in your business. And again, that content can be fairly evergreen and repurposed.
I'd like to echo some of that and also add caution to some of that as well. Like Marie said, having an aggregator, Hootsuite, Sprout Social, there's a bunch that are very manageable from a budget perspective, but they're going to give you that ability to go to one single place, check in on status, check in on mentions, add streams that will allow you to monitor your brand, your influencers, keywords that will help you to engage with other people, as well as give you curated content or inspire you to create content. The one thing I always like to advise people about, though, when we talk about tools that can schedule, is the propensity to say, yay, I can schedule this, and then you hit a button and it goes everywhere. And we want to be very careful about that for many reasons. One is the audience is different. If you have hashtag desperation on Instagram, that might be okay, but if you send that over to Facebook or LinkedIn, people are going to be like, no. So you want to be cautious about who you're talking to, the best practices of each platform. The other thing to keep in mind too is if you distribute directly from Instagram to Facebook, think about what you lose. Repost means nothing. 2, link in bio, nope, you lost a click through. 3, the handle of the person on Instagram may not be the same on Facebook, and then you've lost your mentions. So it's completely worth taking a few minutes to recraft that copy and place it into Facebook in a Facebook way that uses the tactics and the mentions that are relevant for that channel. The other thing to be cautious about, and again, Canva is awesome, highly recommend paying for the brand workspace, because it allows you to track your text, your fonts, your colors, so that you don't have to hunt and peck every time you change for a new image. So that is really powerful and simplifies things. The other reason you don't want to cross-automate and can connect this rule with Canva is you might have an amazing picture that you just shared on LinkedIn, and then you go and send that to Twitter and it's someone's neck. And that doesn't really appeal to me, right? So the image sizes are different on every channel. Another frustration, but it's something we're forced to deal with. Canva has a tool where you can repurpose an image into the appropriate social channel size, so that they will get a face no matter where they go, not a belly button or a kneecap somewhere or the top of someone's head. So use the Canva tool to recreate those images and distribute those directly to the channels. So scheduling is awesome to have things out there and plan, but take that extra time to adapt it to each channel audience and adapt those images so that you're not wasting your time on creating all this great content.
Can we expand this a little bit more? Actually, I want to bring Chris into this. I mean, are these the same situations when you're sharing your videos across multiple social media channels?
Yeah, they're not all that simple. You do sometimes have to go into the individual platforms and post. Yeah, it's not all the like Hootsuite, HubSpot. Yeah, we've run into that problem. So when you do post a video, be cautious of how it gets presented on these different platforms. So go into the individual ones, and especially if you're making video, because it's more expensive content to make. So make sure you're using it properly.
Yeah. Can you expand on it? What does that mean? Like, so when, I hear what you're saying, but what I'm asking, I guess, is when you're posting a video, let's say you created it in like an Animoto platform or whatever, it's already branded, right? Or are you talking about just like a personal video from your phone? What are you talking about?
Let's the length, for instance.
Oh,
like Instagram only plays a minute-long video, and Facebook will play. I don't know the limit, but it's longer than that for sure.
Got it. Okay.
So that's an example of it.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful.
And there's also preferences within the platforms. Facebook likes it if you do the video within their video. Like if you go into Facebook and have the video there, it gives it preference. So you've got to really know the nuances of what mood your platform is in that day.
And another nuance of using video, especially on social media, opposed to like your website or something, is use captions. You probably have caught yourself scrolling through like pictures and then coming across a video and you're not listening, but you do see the captions. So whenever you put a video on social media, use captions, transcribe it, and turn on the captions.
And that's also good for your SEO as well.
Exactly. So I would say one other thing is as we talk about the differences in Twitter to Facebook to Instagram, I'm sort of like a proponent of being sort of shameless about posting on Twitter. Like I got CoSchedule is a great website for continue learning after this event. They have this calendar that I followed for like 2 years now. Where it's like if you post something on Twitter, you should do it again the same day, the next day, the next week, the next month, and then 2 months later. If you're on Facebook, you should do it. You should post on that day, a week later, a month later, 2 months later, and it's even less for LinkedIn or something like that. But having a plan where people tend to think, I posted something to Twitter and not even my grandma saw it. not even like somebody who I know would have liked it saw it. But that's not how Twitter works. It's you get this filled up. It's not like your answering machine, where for sure people are going to listen to it. They can miss it. It admits it all the time, in fact.
Would you repeat the frequency for each platform?
But I want to make sure I have it right. I'll mention the website. It's called CoSchedule.
CoSchedule.
Yeah, CoSchedule. They have some great content on this area, and maybe like a search like CoSchedule, time to post or something like that. But I remember for Twitter in particular, my rule of thumb is you post it in the morning, you post it again the same day, you post it the next day, you post it the next week, you post it the next month. That often.
The same post?
Particularly if we're posting about a piece of content. So Chris did a video for our first business minute clinic. I would want to use a tool like Sprout Social or Hootsuite or whatever you were using. I would do this in one fell swoop. So I would have like morning and afternoon. I tried 2 different sort of taglines, and I would have, in like 30 minutes, I can plan all this out. It's really easy with the scheduling assistants that we've been mentioning. And I would automatically have that again the next day, and then I would automatically have that again the next week, and I would automatically have that the next month on Twitter. But on Facebook, I would not do that. That would be obtrusive to people. That'd be too much. So.
Although some people do.
Yeah, and so I think that's a great point. But it seems like if you treat this like, well, this works on Twitter, it must work on Facebook. No, like the people on Facebook are like, this guy's annoying. He's just feeding my feed. It's pollution.
Chris, you mentioned something about turning on caption, and you mean real-time captioning of what's being said, not just adding the caption. Can you do that with an iPhone?
You don't do it on the iPhone. You do it on the platform.
On the platform?
Yeah, it allows for it, but you do have to transcribe it, which takes some time.
Okay.
But there are services out there, and there's even AI who will do it. People who like 25 cents a minute, and then there are people who actually transcribe it for $2 a minute. Well, actually, a platform that I would recommend, and this isn't really utilized for social as much, but for your website, Wistia. So instead of hosting, sorry to get away from the main topic of this, but it's important to know for video. If you're going to put a video on your website, I highly recommend using a video hosting platform like Wistia or Vineyard. So instead of like a YouTube video, you put it on your site, the world and Google knows or thinks it's on YouTube, even though it's on your site. So you want to use something like Wistia, which takes the code of the video, and I technically don't even know what that means. I'm a creative, you know. But it puts it into the site like any other code, so like any other typed in code. So then
like
Google knows it's there.
Embeds it into the site?
Exactly. So now search engines know exactly where it is.
So are there advantages anymore to having a YouTube channel, or should you really be posting the majority of your content on your site or on your social channels?
YouTube is definitely still important. It's the second largest search engine.
Because it's owned by?
Google or Alphabet.
Alphabet.
Yeah. So definitely still post to YouTube.
So all of the above.
Yeah, all the above.
YouTube is more now your host, right? Because now, like Marie said, Facebook gives you more points in the algorithm if you natively post there. Now you can post native LinkedIn video. They prefer that as well. But definitely don't get away from YouTube because of that, because of the search engine and because of the search results, and also the referring videos, where at the end of a competitor's video, they might be now go look at your video. So all of those things can be pretty powerful. I've seen some clients that have created amazing videos that have been out there since 2013, kind of forgot about them, but they're still getting amazing results on search and referred videos and getting traffic from those videos because of the strength that YouTube has for that.
I have a question. This is directed to Sue. So, like I see it, I have like 1,000 friends on my Facebook, okay? But I keep that more for personal reasons, right? These are like all people I've met. But what I've seen in my own timeline and with people that I'm friends with, I've seen some people transition into a business profile.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting, it feels like I've lost a friend, and now I've gained some business coach that is constantly bombarding me on my personal timeline about how I need to engage with their services. So my question is I'm a professional, and you totally sold me on the get into the social media game. I know enough about Instagram and Facebook and Twitter where I feel like I can handle growing myself, but does it make sense for me to, like, I don't want to be pitching my grandma, right? I want to, like, does it make sense for me to transition my current followers I have and just start just like being that guy that turns into a business promoter, or does it make sense for me to create my own professional profile and start building that from scratch? That's my question.
Yeah, I think one thing I always start off with is, first of all, Facebook does have terms of service that say using a personal profile for commercial purposes is against their terms of service, actually. Do people do it? Absolutely. Have people been put in Facebook jail for it? Absolutely. I've had 2 clients that were realtors that adamantly said, Sue, I've got thousands of people, I don't care what you say, I'm putting my listings here and I'm doing this and that, and then they called me up and said, I need help with a page because Facebook locked me down for 2 months. The way that can happen depends on the, like you said, annoyance level of that person who is converted to a business profile, right? If they're doing that all the time, there could be people that are hitting that block button because they're annoyed with that, and that's how Facebook comes back and says, all right, cool it. So the fact that you brought it up, I almost think answers the question, because right, it's annoying to you. You're like, hey, where's my buddy? I want to see this fun stuff, the vacations, maybe a little tip here and there, but you don't want to be bombarded by your friends about their business. So I think it's always best to have that branded page. First of all, because that allows you to establish that personal brand. The other thing with having the business channels is that you have the opportunity for advertising. You have the opportunity for the analytics that provides you to see how well your content is doing. And people expect it from that channel. So then you can find that balance, you know, where, for example, this event we would all put on our business pages, but then share that over to our personal profile. Hey, I know I've got a lot of friends who are business owners and I've got this really great event I'd love to invite you to. We may have not have worked together in a professional capacity, but I know you're dealing with some things in your business. I think this event would be great for you. You kind of shift that language as well. And then if you're not doing it too frequently, but you do it every now and again and you address them in a friendly manner, they're like, cool, love what he's doing. I want to join him for this. Maybe I'll go over and follow his business pages to support him there as well because I want more of that. That way you can set that boundary safely, but also get that personal brand and that business out there in a strong way that you don't feel hesitation in that, you know, disruption side of things. So I hope that helps.
I also saw a really great post on Insta the other day that a woman had put up, posted my $700 Gucci bag, 300 likes. Told people about my business.
Yeah.
No response.
Yeah.
You're not, if you're talking to the wrong audience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, how many of you went into business thinking, oh, my friends and family are gonna refer me people and they're gonna be there to support me, and then nothing, right? Unfortunately, our friends and family don't see us the way that other business people see us. One of my favorite quotes is that the prophet gets no respect in his own home. If Jesus had teenagers, they wouldn't have cared what the hell he said, right? So it's the same kind of theory with your friends and family. You're still a little brother to someone. You're still, you know, the guy that they used to get drunk with and play beer pong with in college. They're not going to be your top refers. They're not going to be a business source.
Can I ask Sue a question? If I have a personal page and I have like a Facebook page, like personal, and then business page as a page, so is it better from my personal to share on page, or is it from page to share on personal?
I always recommend starting on the page, because then if you start on the page, it starts as your business message. Then when you share from your page to your personal account, you can recraft that language to be more personalized and friendly. The other thing is if you share from your page to your personal account, it brings that page link with it. So that if people want to, they can then go click through, or if it's an image or a video and they watch that, when they take that action, now they're on your business page. If you share it from your personal account to the page, one, you're not serving the page to get more attention, but you're also exposing your personal profile to your page, which a lot of people don't necessarily want to do. Yeah.
Are there any other questions here in the crowd?
When you're talking about doing videos on Twitter, how long can the video be?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I think it might be as long as you want. I can't see.
Because I work for a small foundation and we do a lot of Facebook Live things, and
Yeah.
you know, we have a lot of videos, but we, because of our audience, we incorporate the, you know, we include it, it's on YouTube, it's on the page, we have notes of it because some people don't want to watch videos. And so I'd love to have, you know, and this is the person who's also a blogger that I'm supporting in social media, and I'm wondering, can I, you know, should I suggest, give me a clip, you know, give me a 30-second clip, give me a, you know, let's just, because I've said that and have watched his eyes roll into the back of his head, because it's just, it's more work, you know, and it's a lot of work. and you know, we're a really small foundation, so everything's in-house. But so I'm trying to figure out is what do I want to ask them for? A 30-second clip, a minute clip, so that when I do the social media, there's the link to the blog, and there's also, you know, there's also the trailer. Here's the trailer for the blog kind of thing.
What's the objective of the tweet? You know,
Well, the objective of the tweet is always to have people engage. We're introducing a different conversation about the nature of human beings. So we're in a very, I mean, we write very pragmatically, but it's a very esoteric, intellectual area that we've taken from scholars and brought down into the real world. So, you know, people are intrigued. We do get people engaged with it, but I'm looking for, a bigger hook. Well, how do I hook them? How do we have loyal followers, but we're also looking for how do we get some new people, especially at the retweet rate of videos. How do we get something short, snappy, and not too painful to produce?
Well, that's how you get their attention, is a nice 15-second video that tears at their heartstrings.
Yeah, guys, brevity is key. If you can't concisely get your message across, you need to be practicing your scripting. Listen, I work with salespeople, and I work with some pretty old sales dogs that will talk for an hour and a half about one sentence worth of information. That is not how you want to fill your video feeds. It has to be quick, to the point, sincere, and engaging.
This actually reminds me of another tool. This is not to say create a really long drawn out video and then chop it up, but there's a really cool tool if you are using stories, because with Instagram stories and Facebook stories, you don't have a lot of space. But what you can do is, let's say you create a really fantastic video that's 1.5 minutes long, and you want to share that as a Facebook story or an Instagram story. There's an app called Cut Story that will allow you to upload your video, and it will chop it into 15-second or 30-second increments, so that you can then in sequence upload those videos to your story, and it will play in sequence.
What's that called?
Cut Story.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
It cuts it itself?
Yeah. Yeah, and then it just re-delivers it into your phone in the pieces. So then you upload them in order, and it plays the story throughout the duration of the video. And I think you might be able to also use that tool to drive your own time frames of cuts. So different topic, but it reminded me it's a pretty cool tool that I wanted to bring to the table.
I'll give you an example from our own marketing. We did in January, we did sort of an outlook for SEO in 2018, and on our website, we wanted to, Tim helped me with it, we wanted to just give this talk away as long as we could get your email address and start getting you in our system. Like, nobody really wanted it. It was like dead on arrival. Then we did for the first Business Minute Clinic, we did, it couldn't have been more than 1.5 minutes. It was probably like 1 minute long. And this was like, people were like, that video, you guys really look like you have some credibility. And it was so strange to me, like we were gonna give you all of it. You know, like everything I'll give you all my slides, anything. All this time I put into it, and people really resonated with 1 minute versus like 45 minutes. And so it's kind of counterintuitive, but I definitely have found that short is, especially in the social media world, is much better.
Finally, short rules.
Yeah.
Well, at this time, I want to go ahead and thank Mark, Sue, Marie, and Chris for their time. I would love to thank everybody who watched our live feed on MySpace, but that's not a thing. But at this time, we're going to take a brief break for everybody to go refill coffee. We're going to set up individual stations for our panelists to sit, so if you have any follow-up questions, they'll be available for you. Just be mindful of their time as well as yours if anybody else is waiting for a question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Can you give Jeff a hand?
Seats. If you could fill that out, we are trying to make these better and better for you, and we want to make sure that if you need us, we're there for you too. So thank you guys.
And then one more thing, Sue, do you want to mention your upcoming event?
Yeah, and the plug. So if you guys want to take a deeper dive into Facebook, I'm doing a Fire Up Your Facebook Page workshop right here again on February, goodness. And it's the snow, it threw me off. On June 15th, it's a Friday, it'll be the same time slot, 8:30 to 10:30. So we'll get into all kinds of things as far as how to best optimize and brand your profile, best practice tips and tactics on really getting your content seen in the news feed, getting a bit into advertising and analytics. So whether you're beginner or advanced, the goal is that you're gonna walk away with some really powerful ideas to take your Facebook page to the next level. That workshop is gonna be $125, but for you guys today, for Minute Clinic attendees, you'll get that workshop for $95. I've got some flyers at the back that I'll give you. It's on Eventbrite, it's on my Facebook page, so stop on by, I'll give you that handout. Or you can also, I think the short link is bit.ly FB Minute Clinic. But I've got the form there so you guys can sign up, touch base with me if you're interested.
If I could, one more plug. If you are interested in hosting events like this, for your foundation, for your business, for whatever, we want you to do it here. So please talk to me. We really want this to be a place where creative, interesting people come and have discussions like this on a regular basis. We're really not trying to make anything more of it than that. We just want to have.
We like you. We want to hang out with you.
I want to see you around. So if there is a need and you'd like to do an event here, I'm your guy, and we'll talk to you more about it. Okay. So.
But if you want to use my kitchen chairs,
different deal altogether. So, all right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.